Hello everyone. In this video we're going to go from a completely blank machine all the way through installation of FreeNAS 8 and ending with the process of creating volumes and setting up shares. You're going to need either a USB flash drive formatted with the FreeNAS image or a FreeNAS 8 installation disk. Boot to your installation media to begin the install process. When installing FreeNAS, it's important to remember that FreeNAS will pre-allocate space for itself. If you install to your primary storage partition, it will overwrite any existing data and completely fill the device. It's best to have a dedicated device for the operating system in order to keep your storage completely separate. This is an excellent use case for solid-state or flash storage, since fast access is more important than capacity. FreeNAS can be installed to a virtual machine, but the best overall system performance is realized on a piece of dedicated hardware. After the loading process, we'll see a menu providing various options. Select one to install and press Enter. That's really all there is to the installation process. After this is finished, the OS will feed back the machine's IP address and we will be able to connect in a browser. After the installation is finished, it will tell you to reboot. We'll take you back to the original menu, and this time we'll select 4 to shut down the virtual machine. If you're using a virtual machine, you will need to shut down to remove the digital disk from the virtual machine. But if you're installing FreeNAS to a physical machine, then remove your installation media and select 3 to reboot. Once you've restarted the machine with no installation media, you will then see a different options menu. Depending on your system speed, the installation process can typically take between 1 and 5 minutes, so we're going to speed it up a little. After this, FreeNAS will be basically ready to use. Under Console Setup, you'll now be able to configure any settings that you need to. The default configuration works fine for what we're doing, so I'm going to leave it alone. At this point, you can also see that we've been provided with an IP address, and this is what we'll use to access the web user interface. Write down the IP address and then type it into your web browser. You should see the FreeNAS login window. The username will be admin and the password will be FreeNAS. Make it a priority to change this. All FreeNAS 8 installs ship with this default password, and you don't want to leave it so easy to break into. After that, you've got the basic system set up, and we can now move on to the process of creating volumes for FreeNAS. Move over to the left sidebar and click on Storage, and then click Volumes. Under Volumes, click Create Volume. Now you can name it. I'm going to name mine Volume 1. Select the disk that you're going to use. I'm going to select all of mine. Now you have two options, ZFS and UFS. ZFS requires at least 4 GB of RAM to function and 6 GB to run smoothly. Keep in mind that ZFS was primarily designed for enterprise use and is very demanding. As a rule, if you're recycling older hardware, stick with UFS. If your machine is more modern, ZFS has a lot of very powerful features and can do a lot to protect your data. The machine I'm demonstrating on is recent and fairly powerful, so I'm going to select ZFS. Another 4 options will appear for group type. This is a complete matter of preference. You can use whatever best suits your needs. We're going to use RAID Z2. RAID Z2 offers better data availability and protects you against up to 2 drive failures. Now we're going to click Add Volume. Be careful with this command because it will clear and overwrite any data you have saved to the hard drives you are using. After that, your volumes have been created. Under Volumes on the left, you should now see your newly created volume. Under that, you should see an option to change permissions. You can now assign permissions to the owner, group, and other. Once you're done changing your settings, click Change. Next, let's look briefly at stored snapshots. ZFS snapshots are a way to protect your files by making incremental backups that can be restored later. If you click the button to create a snapshot, it will bring up the dialog box that allows you to name the snapshot. In the next tab over, you can view your stored snapshots and choose to clone, delete, or roll back from one of these saved snapshots. Now your volume has been set up and is ready to use. Next, I'm going to show you how to set up shares on your FreeNAS machine. FreeNAS uses CIFS or Samba to share volumes with Windows machines, Apple Filing Protocol or AFP for Apple machines, and NFS to connect with Unix machines. Samba is the most flexible, but we're going to show you how to set up each one individually. First, we need to set up a FreeNAS user account. To do that, go to Account in the side menu, click Users, and then Add User. Here you should name the account and fill in the required fields, full name and password. Change any other settings as you prefer. Now let's set up the shares for your FreeNAS machine. So let's start with an Apple share. On the left sidebar, click on Sharing and then click Apple Shares. Then Add Apple Share. Add a name and a path. The rest is up to you to configure, but it isn't mandatory. Click OK when you're finished. For Apple Shares to work, you need to enable the AFP service. In the left sidebar, click Services, then Control Services. From the Services panel, flip AFP to On. Now over on your Mac, you can connect to the server by using the Finder's Go menu, and then Connect to Server, or Apple K from any Finder window. Connect to the share at the address AFP:// followed by the IP address of your FreeNAS installation. You'll need to use one of the FreeNAS user accounts you configured earlier to connect. Next, we're going to set up a Windows share. In the left sidebar under Sharing, click Windows Shares, then Add Windows Share. We only really need to give it a name and set a path, and optionally configure guest access. Everything else is optional. Click OK when you're done. To enable Windows shares, enable the SIFS service. To connect to your Samba share in Windows, type // followed by the system hostname or IP address in any Windows Explorer window. To connect to your Samba share from an Apple or Unix machine, use the prefix smb:// followed by the IP address of your FreeNAS installation. Last but not least, we're going to set up a Unix share. On the left sidebar under Sharing, click Unix Shares, then Add Unix Share. Add a path. Make note of it since you'll need it to connect to the share. Again, the rest is up to you to configure. Click OK when you're finished. To enable Unix shares, turn on the NFS service. Once we're done with that, connect to the share with the prefix nfs:// followed once again by your FreeNAS IP address. That's it. You can now set up shares on your FreeNAS system. Thank you for watching this all-in-one video. Hopefully this demystified the process and helped get you up and running with FreeNAS. For more information on shares and volumes and the installation process in general, go to doc.freenas.org.